It's 11:35. You are listening to The Agenda. Now, earlier this week, the UAE government outlined its 5 priorities for 2023. And the top one mentioned by Sheikh Mohammed was consolidating national identity. And that has got us thinking about the policies that the country has introduced to encourage and protect Emirati culture. I think it's really interesting that Sheikh Mohammed listed it as one of the very top priorities. It was the first one mentioned. Later on in the priorities was a mention of Emiratization as well, which is, of course, the government's aim to get more Emiratis into the private workforce. Now, of course, one of the biggest events that was designed to promote Emirati culture is the Sheikh Zayed Festival, which recently broke records in Abu Dhabi with the longest firework display of all time. And one tourism that works to protect Emirati traditions is Heritage Express. Now, they're an organisation linked to the long-standing Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Centre for Cultural Understanding. And I'm delighted to be joined by 2 guests from the organisation. First up, I've got Yousef Mannae. He's a Senior Cultural Ambassador for the Centre. I've also got Raghad Murad, who is the Marketing Manager for Heritage Express. Thanks so much for joining me in the studio.
Thank you so much for having us.
Lovely.
Over.
It's been a busy day in the studio. I shouldn't have worn jeans today because there's loads of people here. Normally you can only see me from the top half, so I just need to wear something smart on top. But never mind, it's all right. No one minds. Okay, so I'm really interested by this campaign that you're running, Raghad, and I'm really interested that it sort of launched almost around the same time as Sheikh Mohammed announced these priorities for 2023. There were some really interesting synergies there. I think almost accidental synergies. But tell me about your campaign that you've launched to protect Emirati culture. How does it work?
Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for having us over.
Pleasure.
Second of all, the Is This Emirati initiative was started to make it super easy for people to verify whatever representation they come across if it relates to the Emirati culture. Primarily because we saw that there is just this cluelessness when it comes to people thinking, is this Emirati, is it not Emirati? And then you go online and the blogs are not reliable sources of information. In fact, like a simple Google search will tell you hummus is Emirati, Mannae are Emirati, when they're like totally not Emirati. So we just wanted to be there as a reliable source that's very easy to interact with. So the whole campaign is based around the ideas of just being tagged on social media if they come across a video or a post or a tweet, and then we can verify this information and just let them know if it's actually Emirati or if it's not.
Okay, so what is your concern of people sort of making things out to be Emirati when they're not? What sort of, what damage does that do to Emirati culture, I suppose?
So it's a very quite big damage actually, because when people come in, just tourism in the country is amazing, right? We get people from all different nationalities and they want to experience the actual culture, most of them. But they get dragged into those safari trips, for example, that are branded as Dubai culture desert trips when they're just in fact like a safari cruise with belly dancing and tanura dances that are like actually Egyptian dances, and they eat food from the Levant. But it's just branded as a Dubai cultural experience. They go back to their countries thinking, yes, this is the culture, I've seen it all, when they in fact, they've seen nothing of the actual authentic experiences. So once we saw that there's this high demand for those trips and experiences, we wanted to combat that with the actual truth. So for people who are actually curious about the Emirati culture, now we provide, as I said before, like a reliable source so people can come and see it for themselves if this is actually Emirati or I'm just going on this, just touristic experience, as to say.
Yousef, as an Emirati, do you see these sort of, I've been on one of these desert safaris. I feel awful now. I've seen the belly dancing and gone, hang on a second, I thought that was Egyptian. But I've sat there quite happily eating hummus. Yes. And then stroking a falcon. And then maybe getting some henna put on my hand, which was really messy. So how does it feel as an Emirati when you see, literally thousands of tourists come on these come on these trips and go, look at me, I've been in with the Emirati culture, I get it, and they don't.
Unfortunately, sometimes, we don't blame the tourists because they came here just for a few days to experience the culture, and they don't know. This is the choices in front of them. And sometimes you feel like it's sad because we have a rich culture, and I feel like it's very important to have like while we are having like a lot of nationalities coming to our country, it's very important for them and for us as well to know who is the Emirati, like what is the culture of the Emirati, the main aspect of the hospitality, I will say. So it's very important to show those people who is like the actual Emirati, I will say.
The authentic
Yes,
Emirati.
definitely, yeah.
I mean, and this, like I said, this ties in so closely with the government's key priorities for 2023. This idea of consolidating national identity. Now, I mean, you're a young man, and obviously you've grown up in the UAE, seeing the majority of the people here are from abroad.
Exactly.
Is protecting the Emirati identity important to you, and of not just you, but yours in your familial and social circuits? It's something that's talked about in Emirati communities.
I mean, as you mentioned, like being the minority in a country while the majority are not locals. I mean, like we're just 10% spread in the 7 Emirates. We're just 1.5 million almost. So, I mean, like it's very important step from the government and from the society as well to I would say that not to protect the culture. I mean, like we don't want to keep the culture and hide it from people, but we want to show the true image.
Yeah.
So we don't want to stop like or close the doors in front of anyone. But we want to keep it open, but at the same time we want to show like who is, as I said, who is the Emirati or the true image of us.
I think that's, I mean, so what's so interesting for me is that I come from the United Kingdom, and here in the UAE, there is just no doubt the country is incredibly welcoming to literally hundreds of different nationalities, millions of migrant workers of every type, every socio-economic type. But in the UK, if that happened, and we see it, it causes real problems. You get xenophobia, you get racism, you get people saying they're stealing my jobs, which is a big thing in the United Kingdom. And what's amazing is that doesn't seem to happen here in the UAE. Do you think that's because the government prioritizes protecting Emirati culture and national identity?
See, there is like a tiny difference between like, I will say, keeping or like protect the culture and at the same time like you're just wanna as I always mention, like showing the true image. I mean, I always keep mentioning that we don't want to close our doors in front of everyone, but we don't want to forget our roots at the same times. I mean, like in the same times when you're thinking of, okay, when you want to show this to the tourists and you want to let them know that this is not an Emirati, but you have to show like an alternative for them. Okay, me as a tourist, I want to see who is the Emirati. So that's why the Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Center for Cultural Understanding and Heritage Express is there to show, I will say, the authentic Emirati experience for the tourist.
And it is brilliant. I mean, I know all about the centre and how people can go for breakfast, and you can ask any question you like, can't you?
Exactly. Our motto there is open doors, open minds. So I always keep mentioning that if you have any question that you want to ask about the culture, the society, even the religion, why do we wear something like this? Why do we sit on the floor sometimes when we want to eat the food, the traditional food, I will say. Especially, for example, about the coffee, which is something very important for us. It's representing a big aspect of the hospitality. And I mean, like, it's as I said, it's a rich culture. We want to show it to people. And people really get impressed when they see these kind of things still going on since the generations until now. Yeah.
Amazing to hear there. And I suppose there must be a concern that if you're going to have these sort of, I mean, on your advertising campaign, you call it Oriental fluff. You know, if you're going to see these unrealistic sort of demonstrations of Emirati culture, I mean, to you, do they stand out like a sore thumb? Can you just see it instantly? You're just like, this is just ghastly. This is not us.
I mean, yes. I mean, it's so clear. Like when you, as Raghad mentioned, like when you just like do a simple search in Google about UAE or like the Arabs, you just see like something like belly dancing or shisha or stuff like that. Something is not related to our culture. And unfortunately, it's sad because this is not us. We want to show who we are. And when we talk about the Emirati culture, it's not just about the way how we look. It's about the values as well. I mean, this is the main aspect of the culture, I would say. So yeah, it's so standout, but as I said, the center and the Heritage Express is there too as an alternative.
Fantastic. I love the idea that you have this mobile majlis. I think that sounds awesome. So you get to tour the country, but also when you're within the bus, you're also talking and learning about the real culture.
Yes, because the tourists, when they come, they go to the modern places. They take them around like Burj Khalifa, Burj Al Arab, all of that. We think it's important to go to the old Dubai side, visit those landmarks, but also not just know about their existence, but actually know their stories. This is why the Heritage Express as a tour company is important, just to have that other side of the story, just being told and told correctly, actually.
Really, really interesting and great to have you both on. It was one of those remarkable coincidences. I was scrolling through Instagram and I stumbled across the Heritage Express sort of post on exactly the same day that Sheikh Mohammed announced the importance of consolidating national identity. So I just found the synergies too wonderfully coincidental to not do it on the radio show. Exactly. So thank you very much to both of you.
Thank you so much.
Raghad Murad, Marketing Manager for Heritage Express, and Cultural Ambassador Yousef Mannae, who is, of course, from the Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Centre for Cultural Understanding.